Surprised at
It's all right, you can come out now, Howie.
I tell you what, I know the AFL policy's right and the melee rule makes a lot of sense, but if you've been beaten by 103 points, your pride is on the line, and if it means you have to get involved and get in the face of the opposition, so be it. Richmond so far have done that.
Well, will it continue into the footy, and can they put their aggression at the footy primarily? Edwards will get the Tigers going. Vickery, they're all happy to get involved at the moment. Tough one to handle. Good stuff. Jetta made the tackle, backed up by Ryder. Then the mistake came, and it's McGuan's footy, and then Delidio's. And Foley was trying to dance, but Davey was a step ahead of him.
They overused the ball there. Is this deliberate on Richmond's part?
Richmond free kick.
Yeah.
Holding the ball.
But it can't be. Right.
Oh, he signalled the wrong way.
And said the wrong thing too. Twice. And he's had a moment. Maybe it's getting to everyone. Monfries on the wing. To a 2-on-2. Hill forced to defend, which suited Rance. Delidio needed his wits about him to find a way through, and didn't he do that with style? Rance back to Batchelor. That left foot will be employed, and it is. Riewoldt doing his work well up the ground, which means the forward arc is empty. Batchelor finds a hole. He could go all the way, or he could have if he had been able to be clean. He's got a lucky free. Monfries probably did fall into the back, but he simply slipped over.
It's a big difference when they get it in the hands of a Martin or a Delidio at half-back. The result and the way they go forward is so much more improved.
Despite the efforts of Fletcher, he gives away the free. Post.
And they have kept Fletcher out of the play that whole first quarter, and they've looked to hit up, whether it's Griffiths or it's Post, and he gets his first opportunity to have a shot at goal tonight.
Well, he hasn't ventured too often in his career into the forward line. He played a couple of games as a forward, but 5 goals, 8 is the sum total from his 17 games, and just the one behind so far this year. To increase the lead to 14 points. It's not a bad effort. As it turns out, though, it produces just a behind.
At least it was a strong enough lead and demanding enough lead to keep Fletcher interested, because even if that is the only role that he does, is to make sure Dustin Fletcher doesn't set up play and take a heap of uncontested marks, he'll have done his job tonight, Post.
The Tigers have kicked the last 3 goals. They were pretty ugly in the way in which they set up that shot, but in the end it did come. Here's Martin, and Richmond just growing in conviction. King under the pump. He doesn't mind that. He fights on. Just no one there to give it to. Melksham, he's got a problem too, and it was a dodgy hand pass. Hibbard for Essendon. And Hill hangs on. He needed to. Gives it off to Heppel. Corralled. Clever. Well done. Stanton.
Waits, but not for long, and Hocking was on, and there's more laterally for him. He could have gone out a bit shorter and wider and found a man in the clear. Instead, he made the task difficult for Monfries, and the Tiger fans will be happy enough with that. Rance getting involved.
Hard to describe how good that kick back there was from Dyson Heppel. He had nothing on at all. He was able to just buy a little bit of time. There was only one option, and he pinpointed it about 40 metres into a contest. It was great stuff.
He's had 9 disposals, kicked a goal, Heppel, but he's had a couple of moments at the other end that he wouldn't have enjoyed too much. Delidio showing great leadership down there, almost single-handedly, getting it out and forced to kick quickly in the end. Good pressure from Jetta. That should help and favour Fletcher, and it does both of those things. He's got Hibbard working for him on the inside. Where to from here is the question, and Stanton provides the answer. Up to the wing. No tall targets for him. Sorry, Darce.
Yeah, one of the criticisms of Richmond's midfield has been they've been a bit one way and not so good at transitioning to defend in the midfield part of the ground, but that's a better setup. You could see they got back, they got one-on-one and forced a turnover.
Newman to Nahas. Tigers 56 kicks, 53 hand passes. Essendon 68-36. So very different methods being employed. Edwards, Hooley, who started this move, the former Bomber, is a good user of the ball by foot. He set it up perfectly, and Sean Grigg was able to pluck it. And he'll be kicking from pretty much right on the 50.
Even more so in this quarter, Tim, the use of handball by the Tigers. They've had 10 kicks and 16 handballs compared to the Bombers' 11 kicks and 4 handballs.
It's as though they're doing it intentionally, overusing the ball. I'm not quite sure what the point of it is, but no doubt it'll become clearer in time. Grigg just going for too much. and is lucky to score a behind.
So a couple of misses, neither of them easy, but would have made a bit more doom and gloom for the Essendon coach. As it is, it's a 10-point margin. Fletcher off the one step, finds Howlett, who's able to break. This is a good path through the middle, forwards by Stanton. Going wide for Hill, had to work hard. Ahead of him, he's got McVeigh into the clear. He can construct it from here, can go to Reimers or longer to Davey. He chose Reimers and it didn't get there cleanly, but he does get a shove. And Rance giving away the free.
Bad free kick out there.
Unnecessary, Tim, yeah. Just it was always going to go over the boundary line and just really clumsy from Alex Rance. It's almost the old-fashioned paddock the Bombers are playing at the moment. And Lordy spoke about their forward structure. They haven't got one at the moment. All players up the ground trying to get it on the way back.
Well, Reimers took some pace off it. Ryder did well to make a contest. Hooley against his old side. Scores are behind for them. And now it's Vickery on the way out.
This is where the Tigers had problems in the first quarter. This time it's a little more comfortable, and Helbig does well and works it to the wing to King. So shocking kick straight to Howlett, and it's on its way back. This is promising for the Dons. A free kick to Ryder if they want it. Cramery doesn't. Gives to Davey. Tremendous effort, Rance. Atoning for past sins, and the Tigers will come up with a free.
So he held him too long after the umpire gave the OK to the initial tackle, but just not the fall. So Edwards gets Vickery. Hurley watching Revolt like a hawk all the way at the top of your screen. Those two little distant figures. Still plenty of space in front of Revolt. So they're working the next 4 Tigers up around the 50 arc. It's back in Hurley's hands. So one kick away from the long ball perhaps. McGawn, he takes that kick into the 50 and it's post. And he honours the lead. Marks in front of Pears.
Grant saved Jake King there. Jake King taken off the ground for that last entry, or that kick to the wing. You see him on the interchange bench here. He was saved by a desperate spoil by Alex Rance, which has set up this shot now for post.
So he's missed from one side. This is probably a better angle to work with, but there's more distance involved. And it would take Richmond out to a 15-point lead if he can strike it well. It's going to go close again. Oh, that was a bit of a jump from Revolt. It was an interference. The umpire said it was okay. And Fletcher kicks in almost before the umpire had signalled into Heppel's hands, and they're bursting again.
Stanton, stabbing ball, and well received by Melksham. Wasn't a lot of help for him if he didn't hold on. Stanton keeps coming. Prismal, back to Melksham. Tigers holding up the charge. Heppel again. McVeigh. Now the Bombers again. It's open. Hill with height and strength. And now with the shot. He was a little interested in playing on, but wisely restrained himself. This is a kick to take responsibility for.
Just have a look at Chris Newman here on the second replay. You can see the Richmond skipper coming through and not happy with his own effort there. It was an opportunity. I reckon he had time, had to try and smash the body and make sure that footy came to ground.
Bombers have gone 26 minutes without a goal. And Hill misses.
So it's back to Newman.
Bombers have got all the numbers pushing up in Richmond's half of the ground. See how Richmond got to keep it, as Dar says, in the good users.
Oh, there's another example. Although normally Dustin Martin's pretty reliable.
Big kick now for Paddy Ryder. David Hill and Paddy Ryder have started the game pretty slowly. Both just had the one disposal in the first quarter. But that is where Essendon have improved dramatically this year with their forward pressure.
Paddy Ryder, 14 goals, 9 from set shots so far this season. And this one comes with a fair bit of pressure. And he coolly slots it through the middle to cut the margin to 3.
Just went for a bit much here, Dustin Martin. Normally a really good decision maker. Forward press Essendon had going at the start of the year was just getting lauded for how effective it had been. They lost it for 5 or 6 weeks. got it back again last week, and you can see that they will cause some trouble with Richmond exiting defence tonight.
Seeing an interesting side of Paddy Ryder tonight. There's a bit of vigour and fire and a celebration after that goal. He's revved up for this. The Tigers have got up his nose. He climbs into Vickery and wins, but it's stolen by Cochin, and the Tigers have it in the 50. Not for long. Pears to Fletcher, and he places it beautifully. Strong lead, strong hands. Collier has a call from Melksham. Goes for him now, just a little bit late. Melksham had to go the spoil. Here's Paddy Ryder a moment ago after breaking the drought for the Bombers. Not the biggest celebration, but he's not a big celebrator.
Good tackle laid by Cochin, but the Bombers get it into the clear. Heppel working hard back hill, really hard, almost enough to win him the mark, not quite. And McGuan and Helbig, and the Tigers now take it right out to the half-back flank where Post was able to receive the Rance kick. And suddenly they are running loose, and running free is Big Vickery, being trailed in by Hibbard. Now into Revolt, one-on-one with Hurley, and Hurley wins the points this time. And there's a bit of a shove for Hardingham there on the way, but there's Cochin. He's had just one disposal this quarter, Lloydie, so they've been able to just tighten up on him with the Heath hockey.
Yeah, I think it's because they're dominating the clearances now. Hutto 17 to Essendon and just 10 to the Tigers.
Ryder against Vickery again. Jackson at the fall, and almost scrounged another one for the Tigers, who really are down on class in this contest, but somehow their spirit's keeping it in the game.
Yeah, all their 5 goals have been manufactured. They haven't been the traditional lead up or take a big mark or a grab from Revolt. It's all been through stoppages and clearances and forward pressure.
Gee, they've got out cleanly a few times, haven't they, from the kick-ins, the Bombers. They've got the centre half forward. Collier couldn't quite get the handle on the footy, and now he's in danger of being penalised. We've seen a bit, even in just a couple of games so far this weekend. They've played a few more of those, but it changes from week to week, Lloydie. But Thurstfield's able to spread it wide, and Helbig. I mean, they do have a really good future with the youngsters they brought in this year, the Tigers. Helbig and Batchelor and Conker. It'll take them a while, but we've seen enough to suggest that there's a pretty sound future there for the Tigers. Hocking's got busy in the last few minutes. And now Reimers spreading out and kicking. Cramery can charge through, full of motivation, because on the end of it is surely a goal. And the Bombers are back in front.
Yeah, the panic, as Das has spoken about. They got it over the top to Stewie Cramry, and watch the way he just gets away from Post from a leg speed perspective. Just cannot go with him, and finishes off quite easily Stewie Cramry. It's a really good setup and a great inside 50 entry from Kyle Reimers.
This is the most important matchup of the game. The Bombers have decided to put Michael Hurley on Jack Revolt. So far, Hurley has been really good in the one-on-ones. Revolt yet to kick a goal. He's just had 4 disposals. For Richmond to win, they have to get their Coleman medal winning full forward into the game from last year. It's going to be a tough night because Hurley is a gun.
It's a challenge for Revolt. He's been beaten by Hurley, who has contained him at every turn. Free kick to King for a push in the back. Cramery kicking his 25th goal of the season. He scored goals in 13 of the 14 games he's played. King has had moments, but he just hasn't really been able to consummate them. Now Edwards for the Tigers. Essendon getting on top here. They look a vastly more accomplished side than Richmond, but the Tigers have been hanging around. Martin, and again his kick is circumvented, this time by Hardingham. Fletcher, Prismal, they're converging. They keep it in motion though. And Zaharakis was able to slip away. Give to Hurley, doing some running off Revolt now. Long and wide, Cramery. He was held. He just about took the mark anyway. And his form of early in the season is starting to flow back. 2 goals last week on that big night, and a couple already in the first half tonight.
He was so confident, wasn't he, early in the year? And then it just maybe got a bit tired, Lloydie. Maybe the opposition got a bit smarter on him, and it seemed to fade away a little.
Yeah, and the ball use was pretty poor, but he's so hard to move in a one-on-one, and his running capacity, as we saw from his last goal, so good, so hard to match up on.
So Hocking in the thick of it, which is often where you find him. And another ball up, and the clearances for the match, 17 to Essendon, 12 for Richmond. And in this quarter, it's been 4 to the Tigers and 2 to the Bombers. Haven't been as many in this term. There's Hill into the danger spot, perhaps. Conker tried to fill it up, and Foley helped him out. Diving effort, not quite enough for McVeigh. He's trying to hem in Nahas because he's been so dangerous. Jackson with brute strength, got through, and they're clear. Batchelor off that left, half forward. And posting up to take the mark is Griffiths. Calling for it is Martin. Hibbert standing in front of him. Now engages. It's one-on-one. Can he hold him back? The ball kept on coming and got over the top.
Got a bit of a glimpse at what Ben Griffith is capable of to take a big contested mark on Dustin Fletcher. That was a 3-step drop punt that's travelled 65 metres. He's got a huge amount of talent, that young man. He's had a lot of injuries in his short career, but that will excite his coach and Richmond fans if he can keep doing that.
That was a monster. Just offline, so a point in it. And we really have a contest. Hurley, long ball. Crammery went the big fly from behind. Foley at the front, Helbig. Conker running it down the arm. Good stuff from the first season player. Nice delivery to another first season player, Batchelor, in the Jackson direction. And he just did a bit of shielding there for Cochin, who can have a shot now.
Struggled with his last set shot. Trent Cochin better on the run than he is at his set shots, and not the longest kick either, but a far better forward entry for the Tigers. They've butchered so many opportunities moving forward, and there's a big kick because the Bombers have been on top in this second quarter.
Yes, they've kicked the last 2 goals. First time of the night they've strung 2 together. It's a shocker. Cochin got the jitters by the look of it. Missed the lot.
All their midfielders that have got goals so far. Foley kicked the first 2. Cochin's got 1. Delidio from the midfield and Martin as well. So they're not going to be able to win unless they start getting some score from their forwards as well. Keep going back to that matchup. Revolt and Hurley is going to be a massive factor in this game.
It's a biggie. We'll watch it with a lot of interest. Essendon lead by a point. Hibbert goes for distance, trying to just keep it in the field of play, which he did to perfection. And the mark was taken by Crammery, who saw an opening. Hocking backing back, it went over his head. Zaharakis stood the ground when he needed to. Nahas sneaks in. Jeddah, just as cunning work. Got it out to Zaharakis. And now Stanton with some reasonably good protection. Prismal lets it keep on coming. And Collier gets it through, not the way he intended. And it seemed inevitable that it would go out of bounds at half forward. We're getting towards half time. Still 6 minutes and 25 seconds to go. And there they are at centre half forward. Play at the other end of the ground. Might get down there soon though. Foley made the play. Careful but good aggressive tackling all the same. Careful not to give away the free from Crammery. He's having a good little purple patch here for the Bombers.
He's doing a bit of everything. He's put plenty of flight on that. Hill drew them to him. It left Collier free, but the Tigers were able to pinch it. And Cochin's kick somehow finds Jackson.
And that's the kick, Tim, that doesn't work for Essendon. Just the long bomb inside 50 to David Hill. He's not in that greater form where he's taking those marks, and at ground level, Richmond are just running it out far too easy.
The goals flowed in the first quarter. There were 8 of them. Just 2 in this term, both of them by Essendon. Richmond, well, it's hard in the mouth stuff every time they bring it out. This one not quite so eventful as some before it. Conker finding the skipper Newman.
And I'm sure at half-time they'll be talking, the Essendon coaching staff, about that. If we apply enough pressure in our forward half of the ground, they haven't got the skills to maintain possession. We've got to keep that up if you're an Essendon forward, their forward pressure.
Bit of hit and hope there from Newman, and almost inevitably the Bombers come away. Not for long. Delidio the steal to Hooley. Probing ball to an open 50. A chance. Vickery and Revolt. No crumbing power though. And the best Revolt can do is try and hold it in. And he achieves it. And he comes up with a free kick. That is very, very tough.
You can hear the umpire. That's Tate Pear's response. He held it into my head, mate, was what Pears said. The umpire said he didn't make a genuine attempt.
Ridiculous.
And the players...
he still didn't try and knock it out, though, Tim. That's the one thing I'd say against Tate Pears. He should have just tried any attempt to get it out from underneath him.
So Revolt gets a chance, and he cashes in and puts the Tigers back in front.
Sometimes that's what you need, and Michael Hurley, he'll be really disappointed because you don't want Jack up and about. Hurley's just done such a good job so far. And I was about to make the comment before that Reebok, when he plays well, that is the sort of stuff he does. He runs in, he tackles, he leads up, smashes packs open, he does all the 1% things. Maybe that's the spark he needs, just to ignite him into the game. He's been pretty flat.
Just want to show that this contentious one again, Tim. I agree with you, it's hard.
He didn't dive on the ball, he was taken to the ground.
But what he does need to do is at least try and knock the footy out. He probably feels it's a 50-50 ball there, but yeah, it's a tough one, but he probably should have made more of an effort.
You can see what formed in the umpire's mind from where he was looking. Howlett out of the middle. Let's see what the Bomber response is like. Zaharakis backing back, but getting it moving to Prismal. He was locked up quickly and so efficiently by Cochin. He's got all the skills. He'll be a fine player well into the future for the Tigers. Forces the ball up.
They're coming off a quiet game last week, Trent Cochin as well. Carazzo did a really good tagging role on him, and he doesn't strike me as the sort of player that would play 2 bad games in a row. And so far, he has really ignited the Tigers.
Well, he's had 9 disposals tonight. When they win, he averages 26. When they lose, he averages 21. So we'll see what he comes up with tonight. Batchelor to half forward. Now the Bombers can get going, and Stanton tucks it under the arm. He's got Hill long, but didn't want to go there. Hocking, still Hill the only target. Didn't kick it to his advantage at all. Poorly placed ball. Rance was able to wear Hill all the way, and the ball goes over and out. And that's another example, Lloydie, what you're talking about. Even though he was trying to kick it to him into space, wasn't well executed.
No, it wasn't. And David Hill probably shouldn't lead on that occasion with Rance. Just put it to the top of the goal square if he's in a one-on-one situation.
Here's Hill doing the roving. And unfamiliar as the roll is, his kick doesn't hit the target.
Great setup when the 2 ruckmen combine, and you often see that where Ryder and Hill, they know exactly what both want to do really well. And it's not a bad set play that. Hill has got the ability to kick goals regularly.
Martin putting himself on his left. So confident is he that he can use it well, and he gets a great result. Strong effort, Vickery, Foley, Cochin. Just a bit of perk about the Tigers at the moment, but too much perk can bring you unstuck. Essendon with numbers around it. Foley might be in trouble here. The boot could be on the other foot. No! Essendon fans, needless to say, not happy.
Every defender got to that umpire too, Tim.
Same umpire.
Yeah.
Umpire Armstrong.
And we're pointing. Ryder to Howlett. High ball. The wrestle. Remus had no room at all once he couldn't take the mark. McGuan's fighting 3 of them. And again, it's a ball up.
A couple of really effective hit-outs in a row from Paddy Ryder. We take a look at this free kick that wasn't paid. Foley over the top of the footy. Hard to differentiate between the two. I think the Bomber defenders have got a reasonable case to make there.
Hocking, again, the numbers multiplying, and there was no room for him. And it's an Essendon free. So Hocking will have to kick it more than 50 metres here. And look on his face, says, oh, it didn't have to kick it much more than 50 in the end. There was a bit of slack manning up. And that quick effort to get it the journey. He's just tugged a little to the right. And so the margin is 3 as we come to the closing stages of a very interesting and heartfelt opening half here at the MCG. Saturday night footy for you. The Tigers 42, the Bombers 39.
It feels as though by the end of the night it could be heart-stopping. Grieger long ball, Revolt Hurley right with him. In fact, he virtually went past him. He did it superbly.
7 weeks ago, Richmond beat Essendon in the Dreamtime games. Look at Revolt. Like to see him go and attack the contest more, but Hurley right up to it. It was all on kicking efficiency. In that game, they restricted the Bombers to just 63%. They went at 76% themselves. That's happening again tonight. Essendon are going at 62% by foot, and the Tigers so far at 72%, so they're just using it a little better.
Still a lot of hand passing from Richmond. Like a rugby wave here. Eventually with Newman towards King. One-on-one. He'll enjoy this. But Hibbert is a most formidable young man. King, though, speaking of formidability, gives to post. Tigers a real chance here. And it's raked in by Griffiths right in front.
That's a great effort, Lloydie. Ben Griffiths in game number 7. He's taken 2 big contested marks on Dustin Fletcher. That's not easy to do. Some real excitement there.
And a man gained 342, so first goal for the year for Griffiths, and at a big occasion as well.
Just needs to kick it straight. He does that. And the Tigers stretch the lead.
It's exactly what Essendon need. They're having to work really hard for their goals. Haven't been able to take a mark 10, 15 metres out from goal like that one there from Griffiths. So I don't think David Hill's the answer. Cranberry's the one looking most likely. Could Hurley have to be swung back down the other end in the second half?
So Griffiths playing out of the goal square at the moment, and you raised an interesting point, Lloydie. The Essendon forward line lack a real serious key target. Hurley is playing on Revolt, and they would be very reluctant to move him, I would think. But they might have to try that later in the game if they're still behind. The margin is 9 as we speak.
Sometimes when you're starting your career, Lloyd, as you well know, and you're a young player, Ben Griffiths, you had a lot of injuries. You just need 1 or 2 things to make you feel as though you actually can get out on a big stage and you can play. And Griffiths had that tonight. Big pack mark. Contested style against one of the greatest fullbacks of the last 20 years. His confidence is right up the young man.
Tigers have got on top in the contested possession count in this quarter. As Essendon bring it away this time, Hurley and Fletcher involved to Hill. Is there time for the Bombers? And they can be clean. There is. Monfries had to wait longer than he would have liked. Oh, Jeddah's handball. That was crazy stuff. Monfries did well amongst all the traffic. Stanton just gets shoved over the line by Newman, and the ball went with him.
Yeah, Jeddah been well held tonight. Missed handball. Will Thursfield can play on talls. He can play on smalls. Jeddah just with the 1 kick tonight.
Yes, Thursfield remains a bit of a mystery, doesn't he? Tigers fans, he's played just 69 games. This is his 70th game in 7 seasons. Here's Post versus Pears. Post. Scrambling desperation from Pears. Now he's locked it under again here. Surely he'll learn to make an effort. Oh no! I fear for him. He's gone. This time though it won't be as costly you would think, because there's only a second to go. So Sean Grigg would need a Malcolm Blight-like effort. There's no chance of that. So it's been a bit of an emotional game so far, and the Bomber fans not happy with the umpires. The Tiger fans, though, very happy with the scoreboard. They lead by 9 points on Saturday Night Footy. Stay with us.